Hi, my name is Annie, and welcome to the Walking Word, where we go through the Holy Bible in a year as part of discipling. We are currently reading the book of Samuel, an interesting book. So, Samuel is an account of, how do I put it? It's an account of that transition, the last, we're now moving into the stage of the last judges of Israel. In the books of Samuel, we will meet interesting figures. Eli, a judge in Israel. We have Samuel as a judge as well, and probably the last judge of Israel as the Israelites now transition into monarchy. Then we have a prophet, an interesting prophet of a heavy story, David and Uriah, and that is Prophet Nathan. And the main characters in the book of Samuel are three. We have Samuel himself, then we have Saul and David, who are the kings that are enthroned during this time at the end of the leadership of judges in Israel. So we begin with chapter 1, where we meet Elkanah and his family at Shiloh. So in the first book of Samuel, just a little historical fact, good to know, but it doesn't change your salvation, to be honest. Previously, so the book of Samuel has been reiterated in terms of its name before. Previously, it used to be called the Book of Kingdoms, because that's when it was the introduction of monarchy into Israel. But later on, I think our fathers in faith split up the book so as to just show that transition, moving away from one leadership style to another. And yes, so let's look at these last judges, Eli and Samuel. We're in chapter 1, the story of Elkanah and his family at Shiloh. Remember, Shiloh is where God had chosen to build, that his tent would be set up after the Israelites had crossed over the Jordan into Canaan and conquered the land, right? But this is about over 300, 500 years. I think this story has even been written around the 17th century BC. So 7th century thereabout. Okay, chapter 1. There was a certain man from Ramathaim, Elkanah by name, a Zuphite from the hill country of Ephraim. He was the son of Jeroham, son of Elihu, son of Tohu, son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. So he was from the tribe of Ephraim. He had two wives, one named Hannah and the other Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah was childless. This man regularly went on pilgrimage from the city to worship the Lord of hosts and to sacrifice to him at Shiloh, where the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were ministering as priests of the Lord. When the day came for Elkanah to offer sacrifice, he used to give a portion each to his wife Peninnah, and to all her sons and daughters, but a double portion to Hannah, because he loved her, though the Lord had made her barren. Though who had made her barren? Though who had made her barren? Not the devil, not medicine, not what, it was the Lord that had made her barren. Oh, and just a reminder, the name Elkanah is the jealous God. Just a reminder, because remember we got that name earlier on in scripture. I think it was around Exodus in one of the family lineages or something of the sort. Okay, so let's go. But he loved her and therefore used to offer a double portion on behalf of Hannah. Her rival, to upset her, which is Peninnah, which is a name, to be honest, I don't recommend giving anyway people that name. But let's proceed. Her rival, to upset her, turned it into a constant reproach to her that the Lord had left her barren. Her rival, to upset her. So for Peninnah to upset Hannah, turned it into a constant reproach, mocking her. You barren woman, like, what do you have to offer us here? You are barren. Her rival to upset her turned it into a constant reproach to her that the Lord had left her barren. This went on year after year. Each time they made their pilgrimage to the sanctuary to the Lord, Peninnah would approach her. Mm, 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 mm. When the second wife approaches the main chick, and Hannah would weep and refuse to eat. When the second wife reviles the first wife, and we think God is not watching. Okay? So Hannah would be so heartbroken. She'd be so heartbroken and she'd just like weep and refuse to eat. But her husband Elkanah used to ask her, Hannah, why do you weep? Why do you refuse to eat? Why do you grieve? Am I not more to you than 10 sons? Am I not more to you than 10 sons? And this is when the blindness of the husband is not answering the main issue. The main issue is that the second wife is tormenting me. And for you, you're not understanding the pain that I'm carrying. That this person you brought into our home is mocking me. It is a mockery. Second wives are a mockery, by the way. That's the best I can say. Hannah's prayer. Verse 9. Hannah rose after one such meal at Shiloh and presented herself before the Lord at the time. At that time, Eli the priest was sitting on a chair near the doorpost of the Lord's temple. So the priest was sitting at the door of the temple. And when Hannah came to pray and plead with the Lord, in her bitterness, she prayed to the Lord, weeping copiously. And she made a vow, promising, O Lord of hosts, O Lord of the heavens' armies, O King of glory, O Lord God mighty in battle. Because that's what the name, O Lord of hosts, really is. If you look with pity on the misery of your handmaiden, if you remember me and do not forget me, if you give me your handmaid a male child, I will give him to the Lord. You remember this was a votive offering out of free will. And then remember one of the in the book of Leviticus, one of the laws, if someone chooses to dedicate their life, and this is where actually the vow of the Nazarite vow comes from, is when you decide that you're giving your life as a dedication to God. Then there were specific things this person couldn't do, like shave their hair, they couldn't take strong drink or wine or blah, 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 and things like that. There are certain foods they couldn't eat because they were dedicated to God. Okay, so this is what Hannah is doing before even the child comes. If you give me a male child, I will give him to the Lord for as long as he lives. Neither wine nor liquor shall he drink, and no razor shall ever touch his head. So Samuel is being, even before time, even before he's already being dedicated as a Nazarite unto the Lord. As she remained long at the prayer before the Lord, Eli watched her mouth. So the priest who's sitting at the door is just looking at her. Like, what's this woman doing? What is she talking to God about? For Hannah was praying silently. Her mouth and lips were moving. Her voice could not be heard. Eli, thinking she was drunk, said to her, How long will you make a drunken show of yourself? Sober up from your wine. It isn't that, my lord. Now she's, oh no, I'm not high. Hannah answered, I am unhappy. I am an unhappy woman. I have had neither wine nor liquor. I was only pouring out my troubles to the Lord. Do not think your handmaiden, a ne'er-do-well, my prayer, has been promoted by deep sorrow and misery. Eli said, Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. The power of prophecy. When someone who serves the Lord just seals it with what they say. She replied, think kindly of your maidservant. And then she left. She went to her quarters, ate and drank with her husband, and no longer appeared downcast. So after making that prayer, she was like, God, this is the last. I've been reviled, I've been mocked by the second wife, by the community, by myself. I've put myself down. I'm making this last prayer. I'm giving this last vow unto you. Now I'm done. Now she sort of washes her hands off and leaves it into the hands of the Lord of hosts, and just now she's living her best life. She went, ate, drank, chilled with her husband, and no longer appeared downcast. So nothing can flinch me anymore. Early the next morning, they worshipped before the Lord and then returned to their home in Ramah. Okay. When Elkanah had relations with his wife Hannah, the Lord remembered her. She conceived, and at the end of her term bore a son whom she called Samuel, since she had asked. Since she had asked. So the name Samuel probably means asked. I asked the Lord. Because she asked the Lord for him. The next time her husband Elkanah was going up with the rest of his household to offer the customary sacrifice to the Lord and to fulfill his vows, Hannah did not go. Hannah did not go, explaining to her husband, once the child is weaned, I will take him to appear before the Lord and to remain there forever. I will offer him as a perpetual Nazarite. Her husband Elkanah answered her, do what you think is best. Wait until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord bring you resolve to fulfillment. And so she remained at home and nursed her son until he had weaned him. Until she had weaned him. Okay. Samuel is now offered to God. Once he was weaned, she brought him up with her along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and presented him at the temple of the Lord at Shiloh. After the boy's father had sacrificed the young bull, Hannah, his mother, approached Eli and said, pardon, my lord, as you live, my lord, I am the woman who stood near you here, praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord granted my request. Now I, in return, give him to the Lord as long as he lives. He shall be dedicated to the Lord. She left him there just after weaning. So picture how old this child is. Hardly more than 6 months, because if you even look at back in the day, many of our mothers weaned us by 3 months max. So Samuel could hardly be more than 6 months old, or 6 months at least. By today's standards, we wean children at the age of 6 months. So at max, he must have been 6 months to 8, This must be very hard for a mom. She left him there, and as she worshipped the Lord, she said, now in chapter 2, we're going to read the prayer that she gave unto the Lord when she was releasing Samuel to God. But just a recap of chapter 1 and Hannah's prayer and everything that she's gone through. And once God answers your prayer, whatever he's given us, a part of that we must give back to him, because the world, the earth, and everything therein belongs to him. Chapter 2 in the next one.